that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls and seek up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. And some sad news this morning. Mary Wilson, a founding member of the Supremes, has died, and so we are going to pay tribute to her today. And also want to know what your favorite Supremes songs are. So we're going to talk about that because I think they had a tremendous impact on the culture. They were a group that showed black women with a kind of grace, a kind of class, a kind of style that was very iconic in the way that they just presented. Just all of it, man. It wasn't just the music. It was the look. It was the style. It was the class. It was all of it. Mary Wilson, one of a kind, has passed away. And so we will be talking about that today. I'm curious, Kawesa, as a singer, what do you think about the Supremes and about their legacy and about their impact on black music and particularly black women in music?
Oh, my goodness. That's such a big question. It really is. I mean, oh, man. And when you think about just the fact, like Dreamgirls even, like I love Dreamgirls, right? And it was based off of, that group. And so, you really kind of think about just their impact, just the femininity and the like you said, the grace, and they were just so extremely talented. And when you think about Motown and when you think about how successful Motown is, you got to put the Supremes in that category. You can't even say Motown without the Supremes. You really can't. And so the legacy of that group and really just the members of that group, they really meant a lot to music, a lot to, just young girls who were watching them on the stage. I mean, oh my gosh, like to think about all of the young women who did not have representation. And then you get to see, these beautiful black women on stage and they're singing and they're working together. I mean, just, there's not enough words. I don't have enough words in my vocabulary to talk about how much of an impact they made on the industry, how much of an impact they made on young women and girls who saw them and saw that beautiful representation. And so I just, my heart, it hurts because of the fact, and she wasn't, to me, I don't even feel like she was that old, and she passed suddenly, and so we really don't. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us, but I know that she has such a tremendous legacy, living on through music, and so I just honor her memory and the impact that she's made, on music and on the history of black folks.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't put it any better, and of course, whole lot going on, man, in the city of Philadelphia. Multiple murders. Yesterday in a matter of hours. Pray for our city, pray for our people, pray for a change of heart, a change in attitude, and pray that more people get involved in really stepping into the lives of these young brothers, man, and showing them a different way. Of course, Man Up PHL will be doing our mentoring session tonight, and we will be focusing on that as well as life skills. What do you need to do in order to survive and thrive without resorting to gun violence? We're going to be talking about that tonight at 6 p.m. at Man Up PHL. And so we are continuing to do our work, man, continuing to push through. And I think that's what all of us have to do. But certainly we have to pray for our city as we deal with this gun violence, man, that is killing people who haven't even had a chance to live yet. And of course, on the national stage, today is the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump. And Joe Biden didn't say much about it because doing that helps no one. It doesn't get anyone vaccinated. It doesn't get money in anybody's pockets. It doesn't raise the minimum wage. And it doesn't change the fact that no matter what happens with this trial, Trump's lies about election fraud not only led to a riot that cost 5 people their lives, it has also cost the country a whopping $500 million That's right. The Washington Post tallied the cost after reviewing local, state, and federal spending records and interviewing government officials, and found legal fees, damage costs from the Capitol siege in January, military and security expenses, and more, totaling $519 million. Somebody should have to pay that money back, and that somebody should be Donald Trump. That's why civil suits should be filed against him to reimburse those costs. Wrongful death suits should be filed against him to compensate those who lost loved ones. Criminal charges should be filed to put his butt in jail. The impeachment trial that starts today should be the beginning of justice, but by no means should this trial be the end. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald join us to talk about the novel coronavirus and the latest on vaccines. CNN commentator Roxanne Jones on Trump's impeachment. Trooper Sanders of Benefits Data Trust on helping people tap into programs that help them meet critical needs. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065 or 866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, the Office of Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger has started an investigation into former President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the state's election results, including a phone call the former president made to Raffensperger. During the call, Trump pushed Raffensperger to, quote, find votes to overturn the election results after his loss to then-President-elect Joe Biden, according to an audio recording first released by the Washington Post and later obtained by CNN. All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state, Trump said. Raffensperger was adamant in defending the results of the presidential election as well as the integrity of the state's voting system. During the stunning one-hour call, Trump lambasted his fellow Republican for refusing to falsely say that he won the election in Georgia and repeatedly touted baseless claims of election fraud. There have been no credible allegations of any issues with voting that would have impacted the election, as affirmed by dozens of judges, governors, election officials, the Electoral College, the Justice Department, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Supreme Court. Walter Jones, a spokesperson for Raffensperger, told CNN in a written statement that the Secretary of State's office investigates complaints it receives. The investigations are fact-finding and administrative in nature. Any further legal efforts will be left to the Attorney General. So maybe they'll be charging him in Georgia. We'll see. What do you think, Kwesa?
I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, honestly, you know, he needs to be charged. He does. Like, I don't know what else to say. And I feel like it's kind of a long shot, you know, these days, but we'll see what happens. But I just, he did. He tried to meddle with the elect. Like, come on. I don't see, like, you can see this. It's clear. It's really clear. And so, you know, we'll like I said, we'll see what happens. But, you know, I hope that they're able to get some charges on them. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I hope so too. And speaking of charges, right? Let's talk about story number two. A federal judge in Seattle on Monday decided that a Proud Boys leader on the West Coast, Ethan Nordine, should be released pending trial, even after federal prosecutors warned he could coordinate with the Proud Boys for another attack on the federal government. Nordine, 30 years old, has been charged with 4 counts relating to his actions outside and in the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th. Prosecutors have alleged he had prepared for the Capitol riot by gearing up and collecting money days before, suggesting he could face more charges in the future. As investigators look more closely at the Proud Boys organization and coordination, the decision is the latest, highlighting how judges around the country have had widely different reactions to the charges against Capitol rioters and how challenging it can be for the Justice Department to convince courts to keep rioters who were charged with relatively basic initial complaints behind bars, especially as they build out cases before a federal grand jury. The Justice Department indicated in court it will seek an appeal to challenge Nordine's release. The department has appealed several similar rulings nationwide. The judge that released him, Judge Brian Chief Cheetah, his decision on Monday included putting Nordine on a nightly curfew, restricting his travel to Washington State and Washington, D.C. for court appearances, and barring his communication with other witnesses in the case, which will likely include several Proud Boys who worked with him. The judge has not placed him on more restrictive release terms, such as home detention or GPS monitoring, or even set a monetary bail amount. I'm tired of this, Kawesa. This is bothering me to my core. First, y'all let Kyle Rittenhouse out of jail. He done killed 2 people. Where they do that at? You know, so they let him out of jail. He killed 2 people. They let him raise this $2 million bond with the help of right-wing rich people online, right? So they give him the money. They don't know where he is. So that's one. And that's, of course, connected to the Kenosha protest where he killed 2 protesters who were protesting for racial justice. He just killed them, right? Walked past the cops with the gun. They let him out. They don't know where he is. Now they letting this dude out. He's a leader of the Proud Boys, a racist group, right? Has been declared in Canada as a terrorist group, has been declared here as a hate group. One of the leaders of these riots where they were trying to kill the vice president of the United States. They let him out of jail. No GPS monitor. Meanwhile, we got dudes we mentoring and man up. They got gun charges. They got GPS monitors. They got ankles on. They ain't shoot nobody. They had an illegal gun. What is wrong with justice in the United States? They let the white woman out talking about, I prepaid for this vacation. I need to go on vacation. You done stormed the Capitol to try to kill elected officials. You're trying to overthrow the government, and they letting these people out. Is it me? Am I crazy? Look, man, Kawesa, what's going on?
No, you're not crazy. It's just it's white privilege run amok. I don't even know what else to say with this. It's so beyond infuriating, the fact that it's just like one person after another not really, paying the price for the things that they've done. And this is really the trend of what America has been this entire time. Yep. It really has been. And so I shouldn't even be surprised that they're out here doing this and they're out here treating these folks with kid gloves. But they don't want to treat us with any kind of common decency either. Ridiculous beyond measure. It really, really is. And so, we'll see what happens. But I'm just sitting there looking like, really? Like what? Huh?
I know. And, of course, today the ringleader goes on trial. Story number 3. President Trump made history when he became the first president to be impeached twice by the House of Representatives. Roughly a year ago, the Senate acquitted Trump on 2 articles, abuse of power and obstruction. This time he faces 1 article approved by the House arguing he incited insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January